Good morning and welcome, Petro Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason on this Monday. I hope it finds you well out there. Our toll-free number, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. As you know, the war taking all of the oxygen out of the room. I will tell you this, listen, gold and silver are on sale right now. Not because war's bad or good for gold and silver, not because it's not a safe haven, because it is. Just has to do with the fact that the U.S. Treasury market is not behaving like it used to. And that is a huge problem. We're going to talk about all of that and more today and put all these pieces to the puzzle together as, well, let's just say this. The news this weekend, not very positive, as the rest of the world seemingly is telling the United States, it's not our problem. It's your problem, and you're going to have to deal with it. Our toll-free number, again, 800-951-0592. The website at allamericangold.com. We're going to get a lot of central bank stuff this week. We will get PPI. That'll be interesting because that'll just be at the very early stage of the conflict. But we will, like I said, get a ton of Fed stuff, central bank stuff, all week long to look forward to. But outside of that, it's going to be war this and oil that. But before we get into all of that, just a very quick update here on Texit and Iskander. The Iskander coin, it's open. It is open. You can get in as long as you're not in Texas. Much simpler this time around. We've learned a lot of lessons with Texit coin. We have a new, everyone needs to get log in differently for the new dashboard. You got to go to manage, and I'm not expecting any of you to memorize this. Just call down here, and we will walk you through it. Your password and your log, it's all the same, just going to a different place. Manage.iskandercoin.com. Then put in your login credentials, and you'll see the dashboard. It'll look a little different, but what we're going to have going forward, it will list all the coins. So right now it'll list Texit and Iskander. Iskander coins aren't there yet, but I'm thinking before the end of the week, for those of you in Iskander, you may start seeing, fingers crossed, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but it'll be either this week or next. You'll see your Iskander coins. And as we add more coins to it, that dashboard will show them all. You don't have to be in them all. If you're just in Texas, it'll show your Texas coin. The payouts have been a little funky for the last few days. We got about another day or so of that, but once we've got this thing all settled in, all of your dashboard will reflect properly, and you'll have all the coins you're supposed to have and all of that stuff. So if you're having an issue, reach out to us. Telegram, I know it sucks. A lot of people are like, I hate apps, and I hate this, and I hate that. I get it. But if you're on Telegram, you get all this stuff ahead of time. But if not, just call us. Just call us at the 800 number, and we will point you in the right direction. But right now, like I said, all eyes are on the war. All eyes are on crude oil. You know, crude oil was $100 pretty much all day long. Right now, we're seeing this spread between NYMEX, which is what I'll call U.S. crude, and Brent crude. Okay, so NYMEX crude, just for people to know, that's lighter grade crude, which we produce a lot of here in the U.S. Brent crude's the heavier stuff. But right now, we're at a $6 difference. They were running right next to each other. But right now, $95 on NYMEX, almost $102 on Brent crude. Unleaded gas, unfortunately, over $3 on the wholesale side. As, you know, we're getting some interesting tweets out of the president. The Karg Island, the big oil island, you know, we hit the military infrastructure on the island, did not hit the oil infrastructure, threatening to, the president put out a tweet that all of these countries were going to jump in and help us to get boats through the Strait of Hormuz. Unfortunately, those other countries pretty much all said no. Japan, no thanks. France, well, do we really expect France to do anything? China's like, we're good. Even the UK was like, yeah. What does that mean? We'll figure it all out when we get back. 800-951-0592. Let's take a quick look at the market. The Dow up just under 400 points. Kind of more on wishful thinking maybe on some oil. We'll see here the 10-year note, 424, so that's better. Crude oil, like I said, NYMEX crude is down $3. Which, hey, that's better than being up $3. Brent crude, it's only down $1 at 102, and unleaded gas, unfortunately, isn't down at all. I expect $5 gasoline, at least here in Phoenix, right? Phoenix, we have higher gas than most, depending on where you're going in Phoenix. I think like Walmart and Costco, I think they were like in the 430s. Pretty much everywhere else was $4.69 to $4.75 a gallon here in the valley. So expect $5 here. I think essentially we'll probably see a gas price of over $4 nationally, unless something big happens. You know, the big talk about this joint military action that unfortunately was rejected, at least for right now, by pretty much everybody. I think it just highlights. Everyone's like, hey, man, no, we're let your ships get hit, right? Instead of our ships, you know, it just, like we said, everyone's going to learn a big geography lesson here before this is all done. Gold, down right now. Gold's been up and down. Right now, down $19, right at $5,000. Silver's up 25 cents, 80.75. But like I said, gold and silver are on sale right now. Let's just talk a little bit about that. Why? Why would gold, you know, safe haven, struggle? Not that it's done badly. I mean, it's pretty, you know, it's hung in there as good or better than anything else out there. But why isn't it 6,000 as an example instead of 5? And the answer really has to do with how unwanted U.S. Treasuries have become. And what do I mean by that? I've been doing this for the better part of almost 25 years, right? So I've been around a while. This isn't my first rodeo. This isn't my first war, right? This isn't my first bubble. But let me tell you what is really different this time. See, before, when anything made investors nervous, you would hear this, and I know all of you guys know what I'm talking about. It's the flight to safety. And they would all buy treasuries. You know what? I'm out, right? I'm getting out of my stocks. I'm getting out of, my bonds that aren't the federal. I'm just going to buy treasuries, drive yields down, right? Because that's what, when people flood to treasuries, when people go to treasuries, that makes the yields go lower. See, it works the opposite way. But what has happened since before the war broke out? The 10-year note got down to 3.9. It essentially Friday touched 4.3. So that tells you everybody's like, yeah, I'm really not that interested in the old flight to safety, because that used to be U.S. Treasuries. And Jason, this has kind of created a unique situation because the Treasury yields have actually gone up, which the way the markets work, to them, that means stronger dollar. And that's why you've seen gold and silver fall back here, but it's actually an illusion, right? It's falling back for all the wrong reasons. And one of two things is going to happen. Either this thing ends in the next couple of weeks and we go back and the gold and silver markets go back to rallying, prices come down, yields come down, or it doesn't. And then gold and silver start going the other way. In other words, why do I have a feeling the 10-year note, if it breaks 4.3, why all of a sudden do I get this feeling gold will start rallying the higher that Treasury note goes? Let's just say this. This thing better end before the end of March, and it doesn't look like it's going to. Things are going to get very, very, I think probably very ugly, but very interesting. This old flight to safety trade has disappeared.
Yeah, we'll see how the war goes. I mean, it has a lot to do because, if Iran just defies and defies and defies, that means that 10-year note's not going to do so good, right? It was going down, well, because people just assumed it was going to be we're going to smack some country up, and it was going to be a very easy situation, and it's not. So that's giving you that. And gold and silver is leading indicator. So if you just look at what happened to silver last year and gold over the last 2 years, it already showed you the inflation that's coming. It already shows you. So if gold and silver go sideways for a while, just wait. When it starts to go up again, it's telling you about the next inflative cycle. And we're gonna have like a bullwhip. We're gonna have, I think we're gonna have these ups and downs, and you're gonna start seeing the Fed chief, the new guy, he's going to be, oh, no, we got to lower the rates. Oh, no, we got to make the rates go up. By next year, the rates are going up. And I'll tell you right away, the markets will start to get really ugly, and then he'll drop the rates again. This Fed chief, Joe, is going to have more activity than anybody since Paul Volcker back in the 70s, I believe.
Yeah, this is going to be very interesting to see. There was a celebration of some sorts. One non-Iranian crude oil transport has gone through the Strait. One. That is the good news. It went to Pakistan. So guesses are the Pakistanis called the Iranians, and the Iranians said, okay. Kind of like they did with India when India got a couple of tankers of natural gas. And these weren't from Iran. This oil that went through, this one ship that went through was oil from the UAE. But my guess is, and I'm looking at this live map of the strait, there's nothing going. I don't know how excited I'll get for one. It seems like Iran and the U.S. is allowing the Iranian crude to go. And then Iran, seemingly here or there, if the right people call, my guess is you send Iran some money, and they may let one of your boats make it through the strait. This boat in particular hugged the coast of Iran. So maybe that's what Iran says, okay, here's where you have to go and to get through anyway quickly. But like we said,
you're saying that Iran is now the master of the art of the deal. Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, I don't think Iran's getting the "you're fired" thing, right? On the old Apprentice.
I think they're the one deciding who gets fired. American ships, no, you're fired. You can't go through. Oh, Pakistani, let's ABCD. Here's the conditions. Oh, okay, Iran. No, we agree. Okay, let that ship through. I mean, is this what we're going to see now, Joe?
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting. So far, the list of countries. So the president, two things. There's three things that got proposed this weekend. Number one, they told us about the bombing of this island. And Karg Island, let me tell you about what is important about this island. It has a oil loading facility. Basically, ships come in, big tankers come in, they load crude oil. About 1.5 million barrels a day. That's the potential of this island. Right now, the only ships, and it's owned by Iran, so this is Iranian oil. The president has made comments that, hey, we may now just bomb the whole oil infrastructure, essentially making oil. That'd be another 1.5 million barrels offline, right? That would be bad, right? If we want $200 an oil, $200 a barrel oil faster, blow up the island, which listen, guys, we could do that easily. We could have that thing all blow it up in, an hour. Like however long it took to put the bombs on the plane, get the plane to in range, that thing would be done, right? Now, that would cut off money, obviously, for the Iranians, right? Which, some could say would be a good thing, right? Maybe the war could end faster. Option number two. So that's option number one. Well, I guess option number one is not do anything to the island, right? Let the oil go. Don't do anything. Right now, that's what we're doing. Option number two, blow it all up. Option number three, because you don't want to blow it all up because, well, then you're guaranteeing $200 oil. Because at that point, you blow it up, the Iranians are going to fight to the end, right? Okay, now we're really desperate. We're gonna go as long as we can. Here comes $200 oil. Take over the island. Right? That means, right, troops. I don't know how favorable that option would be, and I don't know how easy that would be, right? That would, listen, there would be deaths, right? There would be no doubt U.S. soldiers would be in harm's way. Then the president threw out, hey, I want all of our friends and non-friends to help us open the straits and escort all of these tankers and everything through. Let's get this open, and all of you better help. And if you don't, you're going to be in big trouble. So far, Germany has officially said, no, thank you. Not helping. France, not helping. Greece, I don't know what Greece had, but they're not helping. The UK, they're being a little more diplomatic. Well, we're looking at this, but we won't do anything NATO, right? This isn't going to be a NATO operation, but we'll get back to you. Japan, no thank you from Japan. They've already said no. China. Now, we are having meetings. We're supposed to have a big China summit. Trump and Xi Jinping are supposed to meet at the end of the month. The president said, well, if China doesn't help, then I'm going to postpone the meeting. Well, today, the Treasury Secretary said, well, if we don't have the meeting, it's not because China said no, it's because of the war. So we may cancel it because of the war. You guys can view it as you want. Essentially, China said no thanks as well. So right now, Jason, we haven't had any country step up to say we will help the United States try to open the strait. So that's the news that's been going on this weekend. None of it overly positive, with the exception of, I guess, Pakistan got a shipment of crude. So there you go. Yeah. I don't know, guys. This thing's getting weirder by the day, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am,
We're back here, Joe and Jason, on this Monday, and we kind of, we talked about the lack of the flight to safety today. We've talked about almost no interest in helping the United States. And again, I think it's really an indication. Let's face it. If these countries thought that we can send our ships in there and not be attacked, they would all do it, right? They would. They'd be like, sure. They know what's going to happen. Just like, listen, there's a reason we're not escorting the ships through, right? Right? Because we'll get hit. We're not going to be able to shoot them all down. The president this morning, I am demanding these countries come and protect their own territory because it's their territory, he said. It's the place from where they get their energy, and they should come and help us protect it. Why are we maintaining the Hormuz Strait when it's really there for China and many other countries? Why aren't they doing it? And then he wrongly said, China gets 90% of its oil from the Strait of Hormuz. No, it doesn't. It's still a good amount, but you got to remember, China's still getting its oil from Iran. Those ships are going through. I found that interesting. I'm sure the countries are like, well, just stop attacking, right? Go home, and then the straits will just be reopened, Jason. I'm sure that's what they're thinking.
Yeah, but once again, the war doesn't feel very organic yet. Well, let's see what happens. It's when you say it on the last break or two that it's really strange. Well, it's because it's not. It doesn't seem like, war is, I have an enemy and I need to destroy their capabilities to wage war against me. That's how you do it. And what we have is it looks like modern NFL football. You have a bunch of millionaires that don't want to get hurt, and they're playing kind of wimpy style. This is like a wimpy style of war. I mean, I guess. This isn't the war that we saw in Gaza. That was some really there's some killing going on there. I think getting rid of the Palestinians. I think that was real, right? What's going on in Ukraine is still kind of a fake war, but people are dying and dying and dying in large amounts in the last 4+ years in Ukraine. So that seems pretty real. But Venezuela, that didn't seem too real. If someone came in and took my leader out of my house, I don't think I'd be doing oil trades with them the next week, right? Things are just these are all It's very, very likely Iran has signed some sort of a deal with some group of nations, and that this war is going to be something for a made-for-TV event, and we are going. This quite possibly might be a war about something completely different. We'll explore that, Joe. We've had some people call it the Epstein War. I think we should explore that in the next hour. I got some stuff. There's some important stuff going on in our Congress, and no one's watching it because of this Iran war. It's at first I kind of push back on. It's like, come on. There's going to be wars, whether they're fake wars or real wars. There's going to be some wars going on. But now I'm like, you're starting to see the stuff that's being said, in Washington D.C. really good people too. There's at least one really good guy making a case of things that are going on, and we haven't even talked about it yet. It's we are much more controlled than the average person wants to believe. So Joe and I, on a daily basis, we try to help you with the financial part. If you don't worry about your money, somebody else will.
Yeah, somebody else will, and it is taking all of the oxygen out of the room when it comes to what it is that we're talking about financially. We had industrial production came out today, up 0.2, right? Nothing great, up 1.4% year over year. Durable manufacturing up only 0.1%, but nobody cared, right? Nobody, that big deal. We don't care. Tell us about the war. Mexico. Here's another heavy vehicle. So a lot of these, the big trucks that haul the freight, a lot of it built in Mexico, saying that there was a 50% decline from the same month last year. So it looks like, this slump. Oh, boy. Sorry, guys. Breaking news. J.P. Morgan just out now saying don't believe the rally today. There is just a 50% odds of a ceasefire by May. Okay, that's this thing. I'm just going to say this. This thing better be over before May, because if not, Jason, we're talking things that I don't think most people can really wrap their arms around. There's no way, unless somehow they can open the strait without a ceasefire, it just can't be possible.
Well, the Ukraine war, if that one ends, and I have a feeling that one's getting ready to come to an end.
It's been real quiet, right? We haven't had no news on that war at all.
Well, it was really quiet before this year even started. It was getting quiet last year, but if that wraps up in some meaningful way, this war can't end. You can't have this one end, because where will the money go? The money's going to go to this one. And for this one to end, there has to be a conflict somewhere else. So maybe Ukraine is going to sit there until we know what if the Ukraine war is going to continue or not. Because if the Ukraine war just continues on, if it becomes the 10 or 20 or 15 year war, then I think the Iran thing will come to an end. We'll get through this economic cycle we're in. They'll get to use the inflationary pressures from oil now. And Ukraine will just keep going on. But if Ukraine ends, this war will have to continue just budgetarily until another conflict can be started somewhere else.
I wonder what it's costing. You know what we haven't heard either? What is this costing us? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just curious. What is this costing us every day?
I've heard different numbers. It's so many billion per day.
Yeah, right.
So many billion per day.
10, 12, 20 billion.
Well, that does help. Listen, war does help the inflation. It flushes a lot of that heat down the toilet, so to speak, to keep the inflation a little under control, Joe. So there is that part of it.
We're going to talk about that when we get back. Also, a new victim now. 800-951-0592. The next item now, apparently aluminum, is the next victim of a lack of products coming out of the Strait of Hormuz, saying that output now for aluminum, and again, this is another big problem, right? We, back in the day, and I remembered, we had the Love Canal, we had 3 Mile Island, we had, the rivers that used to catch on fire and Pennsylvania and Ohio, and Pittsburgh was the Steel City, and guys, most of that stuff was like refining and smelting, dirty stuff, right? The big stacks. You guys know what I'm talking about. Well, all that stuff still has to be done. It's just done in other places, right? Hey, look at, oh, yeah, don't worry about that stuff, guys. We don't do that. Just don't tell you that we just moved into a different part of the world. Well, apparently, a major aluminum smelter located in the Middle East had to announce that they need to immediately cut production because they're running out of, you guessed it, aluminum. Because why? Well, they're on a boat that needs to get through the strait. So they're saying that production shut down 20% of this company, Alba's total output. They're now saying that aluminum is now hitting one of its highest levels back to, remember, there was an aluminum spike. I don't know if people remember back when nickel was spiking, aluminum was spiking, back up here again. So, Jason, I think every week we're probably going to learn about, we know fertilizer now, that's gotten way more expensive. We know oil's gotten more expensive. Now it's aluminum. And my guess is every week this goes on, we're going to find out 2 or 3 other things that all of a sudden are now going to get more expensive.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the flow of things becomes more difficult. It's going to become more expensive. I mean, that's the way it is. I mean, I was just checking copper. Copper's been pretty stable. I haven't checked it in a while. So copper's been unusually stable. It hasn't broken past its highs, but it's funny, aluminum. I mean,
yeah, still high.
Still high. Everything's still high.
Below, yeah.
Everything's still high, but it's
high, but yeah.
You're just bringing up aluminum. I mean, I know that we had that Wednesday market stop on silver, and it was also natural gas. And you were saying, back then, it's like, well, I think this was just something they threw in. But then we found out, all the natural gas that goes through the Middle East. I mean, we have a lot of natural gas here, but that doesn't mean the whole world gets what they need, right, Joe?
Right. Yeah. By the way, did you see, this is a little local flavor. 3,800 workers walking off the job in Colorado, in Greeley, JBS. That is a huge beef processing plant in Greeley, Colorado. Walking out to the picnic, the picket line today, and I mean, beef prices are already a fortune. I don't know, 3,800 workers walking out, and of course, you know why, right? They're going to be like, we don't make enough money, right? You're not treating us right, blah, 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 blah. And this one has nothing to do with the war.
You got to be careful striking nowadays. That's not the best move. I mean, suddenly a brand new machine gets shipped in while you're on the picket lines, and then some AI gets added to the back office, and suddenly it's like, okay, well, 2/3 you can come back in now, but we just fired the other third of you. I mean, you got to be careful.
I don't know if they figured out how to skin the cow yet with AI.
I've seen some. They're incredible because they don't like to show you the kill houses, but the machines they got going on inside the kill houses are pretty. They are taking a lot of the labor out of it. So I don't know, Joe. Like I said, I would be very wary of walking out of any job right now when there's so much automation and so much technology going into wanting to replace people. It's playing a little Russian roulette there with your job.
Yeah. I'm just like, oh, man, please. I mean, meat is so expensive. I don't even like going to the store anymore. It's ridiculous. I will say this. I was happy that the gas price, at least at the station that I get gas at, was the same this morning as it was when I left work on Friday. That was like the first, I guess, somewhat small piece of good news. But yeah,
everything about oil is a lie, Joe. You know what? Everything about oil is a lie. They're lying to us about all of it. Nothing on the news is truthful. You know, there's a bunch of ships just sitting out in the ocean filled with oil that they can't get rid of. You have to drink up all of that before you actually have price shock. There's no way that 2 weeks should cause price. Now, I know people that are forward-thinking in the industry, okay, they're seeing ahead. But are gasoline prices going up within the first week when we still have huge tankers filled with oil that haven't been, we haven't drinking it up yet? It's just a lie. It's all just a lie. It's just baloney, Joe.
Right, think about it. All that Russian crude, they say, but it was just the stuff that was at sea, right? To Jason's point, there's millions of barrels sitting in tankers at sea.
Why do I get the feeling the length of the war has a lot to do with the tankers that haven't been drinking up yet? Is that our timeline, Joe?
Well, all I know is with the Fed meets this week, do you think they're going to come out and say no rate cuts because of inflation? Be interesting. 800-951-0592. So all eyes on the war. We have the European Central Bank, the Bank of England, the Bank of Japan, the U.S. all have Fed meetings this week. Going to be interesting what they say as to how many rate cuts. Remember the last meeting, even though it was very mixed, right? They didn't cut rates, but it was what was it, 2 or 3 dissenters and blah, 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 blah. I got to believe that they would probably, right, Jason? I mean, all at least indicate, hey, if the war's going on, we're not going to cut rates. You would think that's what they would say, but somehow I got a feeling they're not going to say it.
No, they're going to do what they economically want to do, which is lower rates and steamroll inflation into the world market and to try to get that debt to GDP down in some of these countries that it's way out of control, especially America. America's debt to GDP is World War II level without the World War II. Right? Everything that's going on is very 70s-like. We've been into this 70s-like inflationary cycle since COVID started. And by the way, what happened before all that inflation in the 1970s? There's some similarities. Oh yeah, the Vietnam War ended. And then the inflationary cycle came in behind it. Well, because they didn't have any war like the Vietnam War. They wrapped up the Vietnam War. They didn't have any – that military budget wasn't getting – people need to understand – when you spend money into people's hands, that inflation hits really hard. But when it comes to the bombs and the missiles and the bullets and all that stuff gets spent. It's actually a way of easing inflation. Why do you think gold and silver just kind of slowed down here? Right, Joe? Gold and silver could slow down for a while. We don't know. But here's the thing is that we know that this is not the same as the 1970s. It's not the same as World War II. And the inflation's built in, and they're heading for it full force. So gold and silver has already showed us ahead of time by the price raises. Here comes the inflation. We're getting ready to feel it. If gold and silver starts taking off again, which I think it will, the question will be when, that's going to be more inflation. And Joe, that'll probably tell you if more war is coming. When gold and silver starts taking off again, it's saying, well, you know what? We'll blow up a lot of things, but it's not going to be nearly enough, so get ready for higher prices.
All right, we got a quick update here. The president not very happy with this lack of coalition help. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said the United States is allowing for limited Iranian, Chinese, and Indian tanker transits for now. Now downplaying the summit between Trump and Xi Jinping. So my guess is the summit's off the table now. Remember, they were supposed to meet at the end of the month, calling this a logistical delay due to the Iran war coordination needs, not because China won't help. Trump now saying that they are going to delay, as we knew. And as I said, none of the European allies have so far said that they are willing to help. But at least for now, whatever for now means, the Treasury Secretary says we're still going to allow oil for China and India to go through the strait. Everybody else, I guess you're out of luck.